Hello big beautiful world. Alright, today we're going to take a trip up in this little Jabiru, little GA aircraft. Don't know if it's a kit builder, no, family built business up in Queensland, family run business up in QLD. This thing's a delight to fly about in. I'll get up in the air before blathering on too much more. Today we're going to head out of Jandikot, east of Freo, east of Fremantle and south of Perth. And we're going to fly over to Rottnest Island. Oh, pardon me, please. Oh, excuse me. Fly over to Rottnest Island, then come back east, up along the Swan, and over to Mundaring Weir. And I think there's a little airfield just on the southeast side of Mundaring. We'll see if we make it. Hopefully track R will behave itself, but we'll find out. All right, let's get up there. So I think we're good for fuel. Yeah. Oh yeah, feeling a lot. Yeah, it's all cool. Give ourselves some juice, strobies. Avionics, yes please. Not that I'll be using them much.
Clear.
Get our mags. What are you on for? Yep, we're good. Good for mixture. What are you doing, truck driving person? Okay. What we're doing? Oh, starting the plane, weren't we? Alright, let's see if it starts up for us. No, yes. Yes, and this truck's going to just, good on you. Reverse? What are you doing? Mate. Alright, let's just head over here because this truck's bugging the crap out of me. Alright, we're going to skip ground. We're going to skip all the ATC nonsense. Get her up in the air. Give her a bit of boot. I think we're good for about, there we go. 60, yeah, that'll do us. Cool. Cool. Beautiful morning for a flight. It's about 6:30. Hoping to catch some dawn light. Obviously we're flying away from the sun at the moment. And so this is Cockburn, straight ahead of us. I think it's a Kwinana Freeway coming up Belia. Won't give you a running commentary of the suburbs if I can help it. But yeah, so we've got quite a few family members over this way. And I think I might have mentioned it elsewhere in another video maybe. I have a love-hate relationship with this place. It dates back to childhood. My old man had taken me back and forth across the country to live. You know, ostensibly initially for holidays, and then it became permanent, and then it didn't become permanent, and all the rest of that jazz. So I'd have to go to school here, and some many memories, fine memories, some not so great. But by and large, it's alright. It's an alright city. It's a kind of gorgeous city. I always say it's a city built on sand because it's at the southwestern edge of the desert, the western point. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's arguably a desert city because so much of it is part of an old alluvial wash. But it's great weather all the time. The place we're flying to, I think that island out that way, that Strickle land you see out there at 10 o'clock is actually it's a Garden Island or something. It's a naval, or it was co-opted for the Navy at one point. Don't know if it still is. But we're flying out to Rottnest Island, which theoretically, yeah, straight at 12 o'clock, that should be Rottnest Island. Rottnest is Dutch for rat's nest, and So named because the animal that lives only on this island and nowhere else in the world is one of the most deadly creatures known to humankind. You know, it has fangs and teeth, and it can swear in 70 different languages, and it knows how to arm itself with submachine guns and small cannons. I'm referring, of course, to the dangerous quokka. That's Quokka, quokka. And no, it's not dangerous. It's super cute. It's kind of like a hamster or a guinea pig on steroids, and they're just amazingly curious and friendly little critters. So if ever you would have seen them, go and Google it. Go and Google images or watch some YouTube footage of them. But they're goofy fun. If you sit still for more than 10 minutes, they try and come and nick your shoelaces and things like that. They're utterly gorgeous little creatures with strangely expressive eyes for these dark little bulbous eyeballs they've got. But they're a super cool little critter, and their only threats, of course. Okay, these are impressive clouds. Looks like the old Thames television opening. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, the quokka lives out here. Feral cats, rats and cats and humans, I think, are the only enemies. And land walking sharks. You know, the great white sharks are notorious for walking on land over this way. No, they're not. I'm lying again. I'm always lying. I should feel bad about it, but I don't. It's good to see so much boating activity. There's the Swan River, and you can't. Oh yeah. So if you look at around 9 o'clock, that's Perth up there, and we'll be coming back over this way. And hopefully, as the sun kicks in a bit more, you'll see the golden sands that right along all the beaches of Perth here. Famous beaches, Scarborough and Cottesloe, and all the other famous ones which I can't name. But God, these clouds look trippy. Absolutely gorgeous. So, the Jabiru. What can I tell you about the Jabiru? It's... Okay, we'll cover back. Really fun to fly. Lovely little high wing. Should have hopped outside. Let's go outside for a moment and look around. There we go. Beautiful postcard moment. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Very cool little beastie. Flies really well. It's just a blast to hoot about in. And I think this, and some of you viewers might know better than me. If so, leave a comment. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want more of this craziness. Excuse me, please. I think this was one of the first aircraft to actually be packaged with bush trips other than native Asobo ones. And from memory, you got 3 of them. You got a trip right through the Gippsland in Victoria, the state where I live now. And that's really cool. It takes you from Lilydale, north of Melbourne, out over the Dandenong Ranges, through Moe and other beautiful cultural centres like that. Over through, I want to say north of Wilson's Promontory and places, but I don't think it gets that far south. More likely over Traralgon and Sale and places, and then over to Malakuta. And if any of you recall the fires a few years ago, Malakuta was one of the hardest hit towns there along the eastern coast of Victoria. And it's heartbreaking at every level because it's one of the most beautiful parts of this country. And I don't normally play to the, you know, the jingoist card or the national card or anything like that, but I've got to say that Australia is a kind of impossibly beautiful place in a lot of ways. For all the stuff we get wrong, we live in a country that has so many amazingly, just insanely, impossibly beautiful places. So do come down this way, outside Simulator Land, if you ever get the chance, because it's a very easy place to fall in love with. Not the least of which you get these pink, fluffy, trippy clouds pretty much daily throughout summer, autumn, winter and spring. So this is Rottnest Island, straight ahead of us. I used to love coming here as a kid on an old ferry called the Temeraire 2, and it was really, really cool. You take off out of Fremantle there. We'll be going back in to the initial point, and you know, it is one of those sort of fairy tale boat rides across the water, because you do get the dolphins bow surfing at the front of the ferry, and you know, you'll see all the sailing boats out here. 2 million years ago they held the America's Cup, I think, in these waters, well, about 40 years ago anyway. And this island itself, it's remarkably well kept. I'm not sure how they regulate the tourism here. I don't think you can stay for more than a couple of days at a time. And even then, the only hotels or the only places you can stay, I think from memory, are the old revamped quarantine rooms, which sounds kind of pretty ratty, but they are pretty cool, I'm told. They're kind of a luxury item now, fully decked out to accommodate people from the world over. But the island itself, I don't think it's a mile long and maybe half a mile wide, as you can see, with a big lake in the middle. You can walk around it, you can hire push bikes, you can hire pushies and ride right around the island. One of the cool things is about, and we'll be seeing it shortly, about a quarter of a mile southwest of the main jetty, Thompson's Jetty, is a little airfield, and like I said, we'll do a touch and go if I'm so inclined. But it's a delight just to hang out and paddle about on the beaches all day. I think the simulator reflects how beautiful the sand is over this way. Gorgeous light sand. It's quite lovely. There's another thing, of course, that Australia has year round, which is, you know, we're renowned. I think Rotti had the great tragedy of a diver being attacked by a great white here. Again, only a couple of years back, I think, but it wouldn't matter what flight simulator adventure I took you on in Australia, even if you're inland like Uluru or up in the middle of the desert, someone somewhere, myself included, is probably going to tell a shark story, even though the only shark I saw was in Sydney Harbour, and it was a large carpet shark, technically not what you would consider a man-eater. But yeah, the beaches here are really extraordinary. And yeah, there's our little airfield. One of the things I do recall, in fact, the last time I was over here, or not the last time, the second last time, whatever, doesn't matter. But the red, I want to say red roulettes, or the roulettes, the Australian Air Force aerobatic team, we're doing touch and goes here in their Pilateses, and I'm not conversant in all the Pilates models. I think PE12 or something, the tandem, or it looks like a tandem hunchback affair. But yeah, they were doing touch and goes here, and that was pretty cool. So, I forgot to go. So as you can see, the waters look every bit as enticing as what you would find in the Caribbean or the Mediterranean or any of those places. Here's a little settlement right near Thompson's Ferry, where the Thompson's jetty, where the ferry comes in, and people just grab their fishing rods and walk over to these beaches, or, you know, scuba gear, high scuba. Just, I don't think they're permanent residents. They might be. Who knows? Money. money, baby. It changes everything. With enough of it, you can buy anything and anyone. Well, at least according to the movies I watch. Yeah, it does. Because they've got settlements there now. A bit heartbreaking if that's the case. Anyway, we'll do a touch and go. And then we'll head back. It truly is an impressive... Okay, tell me that doesn't look cool. It really is an impressive part of the world here in the Indian Ocean. Whale sightings, all manner of things. In fact, up north, you've got Ningaloo Reef, and that's where the whale sharks come down every year, and the divers go out, try and pat them. One day I'll probably do a recording of flying around Monkey Mire, which is again a third of the way up the coast of Western Australia there, and that's where you can go and swim with the dolphins. It isn't recommended you swim with them, but because they're always frisky, it's a little known thing. They're constantly in a state of excitement. Interpret that however you will, that they are constantly towy, and they've been known to actually give people nasty whacks who've just even innocently tried to stroke them. The dolphins thought that those funny monkeys with no tails, i.e. us, were trying to get a bit saucy with them, and they were rejecting us because we didn't wear the right aftershave or eau de toilette that day. But again, it's just part of the cool thing about being here. Monkey Mire, I don't think you can dive with dolphins here on Rottnest Island. Maybe you can, who knows, but they're certainly there. They're all around all the time, year round. Like I said, because this is a migratory point for the great whites, they're often seen here. All the pelagic sharks, I think, threshers and makos, pretty much all the bad boys, tigers. But it's essentially the eastern edge of the Indian Pacific. We're a little fast, aren't we? But we're only doing a touch and go. Come on, Bubba. But yeah, it's a super cool place. Throttle off. There we go. And we'll get up in the air again.
What a nice touchdown.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cool. And up there. So we're just gonna swing it round by Thompson's jetty again. And then we'll make our way back to the Swan. Okay, so this is the main area right here. Yeah, a really pretty part of the world, to be honest. All those little phantom yachts down there, decidedly strange. Not sure what that exploration boat is doing there, but that's sort of points for trying. Alright, let's fly into the sunlight, into the sunshine. But this sucker is great to fly. And the other, so like I was saying before, one of the cool things you get 2 aircraft from memory, and you also get the bush trips, and one of them was throughout Gippsland, like I said, Melbourne over to Malakuta, and the other 2, I think, if I recall rightly, were 2 Queensland trips, taking you up through Winton, where Qantas was started, Longreach, Winton, and another one as far all through the Barrier Reef Islands, I think Cairns or somewhere like that, Proserpine maybe. But that's what makes this sucker really good value. The bush trips are great. You know, they're worth the price of admission alone. Because you see a lot of different kind of landscapes with it. And in fact, this is a great aircraft for a lot of the bush trips. You know, if you want to keep that whole Australian field thing happening, there's a great one, Follow the Murray, where it starts up around Mount Kosciuszko, wends its way over through the border between Victoria and New South Wales, then over through Renmark and Caelan's Bend and all the rest of it over in South Australia, comes out through Lake Alexandrina over south of Adelaide. So, and I think that's available on flightsim.to. It's called the Murray River Adventure or something. But there's a lot of them. I also believe that Australia update from February or January this year might have had a couple of additional Australian bush trips thrown in as well. So this is a great aircraft to birdle about for things like that. Cool. So down south is Fremantle there. It's a jumping little town, jumping little port in its own right. It's really sweet. It's very gentrified now. Nice place to sit and have a coffee and watch the world go by and smile at all the beautiful people in the perfect weather. This is a Swan. We're just going to follow this along for a while. And I believe this is where the attack took place a couple of weeks ago with Bull Shark. But now we're coming into Perth City itself, and we'll be flying over. Hopefully, we'll be flying over. Do we want altitude? No, don't need this much speed though. We'll be flying over Perth International Airport as well. Now, when I was a kid, I grew up maybe about 3 miles, maybe close to 5 miles from there. Went to school over that way. And my neighbours actually used to run what we call midget races back then. Little, essentially, they weren't minis, I'm not sure what the hell they were, but they were cool little races with roll cages and stuff like that. And it was at Forest Field Speedway. And where Perth International is now, that's where I used to go to watch my neighbours race. And because I knew the family, we were allowed into the pits, so we'd be running around like lunatics, 10 or 11 years old, while all these cool, in the days of drag races, and they're kind of a thing of the past to a certain extent. I know most cities and a lot of suburbs still had their speedway circuits, but the old dragways, the speedways for this lot were really something else. In Sydney we had Oran Park and Castlereagh Dragway. Oran Park was a race circuit, like the famous Bathurst circuit, and there was another one, Oran Park, Amaroo was another one. Every bit the equal. But my brothers would take me to in Sydney, my brothers would take me to Castlereagh Drags, and over here we'd ride our push bikes out to Forest Field Speedway. And that's now part of a housing estate just to the southeast of Perth International. And it was great, Trouble is, you do it on a summer's day, and of course, you wouldn't be drinking the water. You'd end up getting heat stroke. It was like, it could be pretty full on actually, thinking back. It seemed to be indestructible, looking back. But yeah, it was a lot of fun watching all the cars hurrying around the track and having the wildest collisions and so on and so forth. So that's little island in the river up at about 1 o'clock there. This one just on the nose. That's Rottnest Island. And there's Perth. Is it Queen's Park or King's Park just here on the western edge? Looks down on the city. Good times, good times. When I was a little boy, this is in the days where, actually only in Australia I don't think we produce vinyl anymore. Around the world, most countries still sell vinyl records. It's still a viable concern. In Australia, not so much. We just scrapped all our plants almost 30 years ago now. But in those days, I'd catch the bus. My old man, my father, would give me, I think 60 cents or so pocket money a week. Not that I earned it. I was a lazy little bastard, so I didn't really earn it, so I can't complain that it wasn't that much. But yeah, so that's Perth. That's kind of cute. Nice. Running all the river tourists runs around there, and yeah, so we'd he used to give me pocket money, and every Saturday I'd I'd catch the bus into town, and I'd here by the river, Barracks or Hay Street, I forget which, one of the streets down here. They used to have a record store, and in those days you used to be able to go into a booth and listen to vinyl, listen to a record before you bought it to see if you liked it or not. And it took me a few weeks to pay off. I bought, why has it got those colours of the oval? I don't care. Just pretend we didn't see that. And it would take us, yeah, it took me weeks to pay off my first album when I was like 10 or 11 years old. It was Alice Cooper's $1 Billion Babies. And back then it used to get the gatefold, you'd be able to fold it out and had the lyric insert and all the rest of it. And I'd voraciously try and memorize the lyrics to all the songs. And by the third week, the guy who ran the record store kicked me out because I couldn't sing for shit. I just couldn't do it. But I gave it my all. But evidently, because I had the headphones on, I wasn't aware that other people were complaining about me. This 10 or 11-year-old kid singing his heart out to all these Alice Cooper songs like I Love the Dead and Sick Things and so on. But that's a true story about me growing up in Perth there. You can take that to the bank. Now, I was going to show you, was I not? I was going to show you, I have a feeling we might be over it. Okay, is this it? Here it is. Yeah, there's the bridge. So, see that race circuit just across from there? That's where we used to swim in the river. And that's where there'd often be sightings for these bull sharks. And, well, they'd be unidentified. Everybody just used to scream out shark. And even though we knew we were protected by a net, you bet we walked on water if somebody yelled it out. Because, we didn't want to be fish food. So theoretically, if I recall rightly, the highway leads north up through, I want to say Sandringham and the Midlands and all the rest of it. And all we do is run it out here to, ooh, there we go, there's our aircraft. Okay, so that's Perth International. You can see the whatever that puppy is coming in for a landing. I think I've got my strobes on. If not, I'm a very naughty boy. There we go. Yeah, and over at our 9 o'clock, that's where the old race circuit used to be when I was a kid. Now what am I looking for, folks? I'm looking for the highway, aren't I? Lead us east. You know what? I'm going to venture to say that's it. And we're just going to head... Oh, another one. I really am between the paths. Okay, so let's just take a risk. What's the whiskey saying? Oh, it's a little far. Now, why are we going to put it down at Mundaring Weir? You might say O'Connell Dam, Mundaring Weir. Because one of the things that my brother used to love doing with my old man and the family was we'd go for a run up here on a weekend occasionally. And the Weir, I think, is one of Perth's main water supplies, obviously. But, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but it is. But I just remember one of the cool things about it was there was a a cafe they used to love stopping at, and it had big grapevines, and if you go there at the right time of year, spring, maybe late spring, had the big ladyfinger grapes, and you could just sit there all day. And as a kid, you'd sit there just stuffing yourself full of these beautiful ladyfinger grapes straight on the vine, and that was really cool. It was just some hell, the place probably doesn't even exist anymore. Whether you're into long drives or not, I've got to say I've driven across the country a few times from Sydney to Perth and back and halfway up Western Australia, and it is, as I've said in the other videos, I think it's a pretty cool place. There's a lot going on, and often in the most unexpected places. For argument's sake, one of the most arguably famous expanses of nothing in the world, so it's Mundaring over here, is the Nullarbor Plains. And in fact, it's not Nullarbor, it's, to be pedantic, or to be a pedantic bastard for just a moment, it's Null Arbor, no trees, it's Latin, it's nothing to do with any of the indigenous groups, or, as used to be so often touted when I was a kid. But there are trees, and there is life out there, and there's the Alada people and a whole bunch of people who live their entire existence out there, and it's really quite beautiful. And the first couple of times I went over, all those decades ago, it was still limestone and dirt, long before it got blacktopped, and it was quite extraordinary. Watching the rains come and go on these desert roads, it'd just be, you'd have to go real slow. Yeah, it was just really, really a lovely, lovely thing to go across the Nullarbor. And then when the blacktop did come, it's like 100 or 150 mile of straight road, one of the straightest stretches in the world of any road. And the desert mornings and the desert evenings really, they stay with you, that's for sure. They really do. So whether you're doing it IRL, or you're doing it in Simland, or you're driving it, or walking it, or bushbiking it, yeah, there's a lot to see here. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool country, especially I guess in the places where you think nothing should be that noteworthy. Yeah, so this should be Mundaring Weir. It's one of the, if not the main, freshwater source for Perth and Fremantle. Is that cafe with the ladyfinger grapes still there? Who knows? I'm going to venture to say no. Oh, there it is right there. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, clan, how's your day going? Leave a note in the comments for any of the cool flight sim joints that you consider your favourites, or why they might be important to you. Better yet, post them yourself. That's what this is all about. Just get your own content. I hate that word. YouTube content creator. Create your own stuff and blather on with the same bollocks that I'm blathering on with here. It's terrific fun. It can be, I don't know if it's, well, fun implies, heated amounts of activity and barrel loads of laughter. And arguably this is neither. But on the other hand, it is incredibly meditative to the point, I guess, for many that's boring as batshit. But again, you're not doing it, and I'm certainly not doing it for anybody else. I do it because I like the sense triggers and the memory triggers, and I like the sense of escape. But more than that, like a good movie or a good book, I like the transportive effect of this simulator. The notion that something this digital can invoke a sense of wonder and curiosity. Here in this virtual Jabiru, in this virtual stretch of Southwest Australia. And in fact, I think that's another free bush trip up on TO. I believe there's a really cool Southwest West Australia bush trip that someone's created. And it was playing to rave reviews last year. So maybe I should do that. But as it is, this is just my own little flight plan to have a quick flight down memory lane as usual. I bet you this is going to be one of those really weird and wacky emergency strips that nobody in their right mind genuinely attempts to land at. So I hope you're still tuning in, gang, listening to my my unique monotone that I have happening. Oh yeah, that's it. Alright, we'll come around. No windsock telling us which way to go. But like I said, gang, this is a really, really cool little aircraft, the Jabiru. 170D maybe and 160C. And worth the price of admission for the bush trips, but also for this aircraft itself. It's a great little GA tourer to get about in. And hell yeah, I'm overspeeding it. Alright, we're going to drop it back. Might have to give us some flaps, I think. Yeah, cool. Bit of a ballooning. Ooh, we'll keep it about. Oh, hoping she's got an over the fence speed of about 70k. We'll find out. Try and put it down at about 60. If we can do this. Bring her in on the tree line. Yep. Hopefully we're not just going to plummet out of the sky. We'll plonk her down and see what's what. Oh, go on, kid. Certainly keep her away from the trees. Yeah, what do you reckon? I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. Alright, let's bring it around and we'll shut it down. So there you go. If you've learnt nothing else, gang, you've learnt that there's a rather neat little airbase or airfield, albeit rough as guts, just to the southeast of Mundaring Weir. So again, great icebreaker at parties. If you're chatting anybody up, and go up to them and say, hey, did you know? And boy, you won't be going home alone that night. So I hope you've had fun fanging around the greater Perth area. Oh, what kind of car have we got? Oh no, it's just one of those creepy serial killer vans. And you've got a little bird dog parked right up in the trees. Correct. That's doing it the right way. Okay, so why don't we do the same? We'll just head for this massive gum with a blackberries and yeah, just put it in the brambles. What the hell's that tree all about? Alright, that's creepy. That's a triffin. Alright, gang. Thanks, Joe, for joining me. We're going to shut it down. And I want to thank you all for signing on for the Madcap Adventures. Stay tuned for the next one. Whatever, wherever, whoever it may look like. We'll take it from there. I should have turned that off ages ago, really, shouldn't I? Alright, big beautiful world. As always, hope you had a blast. Stay safe and make an effort to stay sane. See you later.